If you clicked on this video, then either you or somebody you care about is having bad foot pain, especially those first few steps that you take in the morning after getting out of bed. You may even have a diagnosis of plantar fasciitis. Luckily for you, I spent the last 13 plus years, amounting to over 20,000 hours of clinical time, helping people with pain. And many of those hours have been spent helping people with the same exact problem as you.
Keep it moving, keep it smooth. All the gear, find your groove. The body's the engine, the soul's the fuel. Keep it moving, keep it cool. Keep it moving, keep it smooth.
Although I baited you with that thumbnail and the idea that the fix is simple, it ain't going to be easy. And it's not going to be easy because to fix something like this for good, we need to look at the root cause. So rolling your foot over a frozen water bottle and stretching your calf and your foot may give you really good temporary relief, but we're looking to fix it and allow you to never have this problem again. So grab a notepad and a pen, because this video is going to be filled with lots of useful information, and we want to make sure that you're extracting all of the most relevant information for your specific problem, because many people can have foot pain, but the causes of everyone's foot pain may be different. Let's first understand what plantar fasciitis actually is. It's inflammation of the plantar fascia. The plantar fascia is a thick band of connective tissue that spans the bottom of the foot and is basically there to support your arch. The reason why you're having most pain in the morning is because when you sleep on your back or on your side, your foot falls into this specific position where the plantar fascia and the calf gets really short. When you go to stand up, you're doing the exact opposite, and it's getting stretched. So if something's already tender, sore, and tight, when you stretch it, it can be like knives or shards of glass in the bottom of your foot. We don't want that. So this can become a problem when your body's capacity to recover does not equal or does not exceed the stress that you're placing on a specific area of the body. In this case, the feet. In clinic, we see this often with people who have gained a lot of weight over a short period of time. For example, a pregnant woman. This problem is common in women that are pregnant. We also see this in people who have increased the time on their feet drastically over a short period of time. For example, going on a 3-day vacation where you're walking 20,000 plus steps a day, going to New York, Manhattan, or going on a hiking trip. Sometimes a change in shoes to one that is less supportive can be very stressful on your feet. Lastly, a decrease in activity causing muscle weakness can place undue stress on the feet, causing them to overwork. The simple process to fixing this has 3 steps. Step 1 is to assess your recovery capacity and your recovery assets, such as your sleep, nutrition, stress management, and hiring a rehab professional. If you're not sleeping optimally, if you're not eating well, and if your stress is high, there's a high chance that you're not going to recover from the strain that you place on your body on a day-to-day basis. Step 2 is to manage your load. You have to manage your load so that your recovery capacity either equals or exceeds the strain that you place on your feet. So if you like to walk daily, you might have to bring the volume down. So the distance, the speed. With walking, ensure that you have shoes that are supportive enough. A supportive shoe and a decrease in load can often allow for decreased inflammation, therefore less pain. Step 3 is to increase your tolerance to load by improving the strength and mobility of your legs, your feet, and your core. I'm going to head into the gym with you now to show you all of the necessary exercises to help relieve your pain, correct any muscle imbalances, and prevent this problem from coming back. The big toe is very important for foot mechanics. When you extend the big toe, the arch of the foot increases. Can you pull that big toe up using the muscles in your foot? If you can't, try putting the foot on the floor and bending the big toe just like seen in this video. If you have to, you can try to pull your big toe up with your hand as well. This will also give a decent stretch to the bottom of the foot. From there, we can move into ankle mobility. Can we bend our ankles, what we call dorsiflexion, adequately? So first we want to check using the knee to wall test. So you want to get close enough to a wall, about 3 to 4 inches. Start there, and you want to square off your body, especially your hips, and then attempt to get that knee to touch the wall, keeping your heel down. If it's easy to get to the wall without shifting your weight and rotating, because that is cheating, then you can just take it an inch back or a half an inch and get to the point where you can just barely touch your knee to the wall. And then you want to measure the distance between your toe and the wall. And this is going to be your objective measurement to assess whether or not you're progressing in range of motion. From there, we can stretch using this exact same assessment tool. You can use this as an exercise to improve the ankle joint mobility. Now, if our calves are tight, which is very often a problem in people who are experiencing plantar fasciitis, then you can do this runner's calf stretch where you place your hands up against the wall and you get into a stride stance, making sure the back leg, which is the one that you're stretching, that knee is straight and that heel stays down. And you want to make sure that the toes are pointing forward. For these stretches, I would recommend that you hold for 5 deep breaths. If you've seen any of my previous content, this is exactly how I demonstrate how to do passive stretch. The reason being is because stretching is very uncomfortable. And if you're feeling a lot of discomfort, your nervous system will shut down and try to protect by fighting back. So the muscles will just fight back. If you take long, deep breaths, about 10 to 12 seconds per breath, then it's much easier to relax the muscle. After this, we can move on to some foot mobility. This is what we call foot doming. If you can keep your toes down without scrunching them and raise the middle of your foot, creating that dome and then dropping it flat. Often with these movements, I like to make sure that you drop down and then you extend your toes. So you're going the opposite way. Then you're bringing your toes down and then you're coming back up. From there, we can try splaying the toes, so separating the toes, creating space between the toes. This is sometimes very difficult for people, so I urge you to just practice. The consistency will start to recruit these muscles that don't have a good mind-to-muscle connection yet. But once you do it and you practice, you can definitely get those muscles going, and you'll be surprised how much movement you can get out of your feet. From there, we can try strengthening the toe flexors. So some people will do a towel crunch, but I like to do actual toe walking. And what this is, you're just standing nice and tall, and you want to be on a carpet, a surface that you can kind of grab a little bit, but you can also slide, so less friction. As you can see here, I'm on the turf strip, barefoot, and I'm standing nice and tall, and I'm gripping the turf with my toes and pulling my whole body forward. And I'm actually moving forward as I do this. You may not be able to get forward just yet, but as you practice and you establish more strength and endurance in those muscles, you will get further and further. We can work on strengthening the muscles that plantar flex the ankle. So what that means is the muscles that allow you to raise your heels and go up onto your toes. I like using an actual training plyometric box, but you can use a step stool, or you can even use your stairs, which is really easy, and you can just hang on to the railing. All you want to do is get your heels hanging off the edge. You actually want the balls of your feet kind of at the edge of the step. And then you're just going to lower your heels off the edge, and you're going to use your calf muscles, keeping your knee straight. And then you're going to push up and then come back down. And we want to try to get all the way up and then come all the way down. This is very important because the calf muscles will also work while they're lengthening. And this is really helpful when you walk or when you're doing anything very active. Those muscles have to work to control the foot. Now, I have a special modification, and it's like a progression of this exercise that I like to teach because our foot tends to go into what we call a supinated position in order to get rigidity to push off. And then it likes to go into a pronated position as well, which is the exact opposite, almost like you're flattening your foot and you're turning inward. The muscles in the lower leg have to control this movement. So I've created this movement where it's very similar to the exercise I just described on the step. But instead, what you're doing is as you go up into that position, you're going to create an arch in the foot and you're actually going to supinate. And what happens is you end up rotating your body as you go up. And then as you come down, you're going to do the exact opposite, lowering your body down. So you come up and then you lower. So the key is that you are creating that shape in your foot as you come up, and then you're slowly releasing that position, going into the second shape, which is pronation. So it's up into supination and then down into pronation. These are strength and endurance exercises. You want to do them as many reps as you can, tolerable until you get to fatigue. There was a study that proved and demonstrated that individuals that can lift their body weight in a heel raise for more than 25 repetitions were in a better position to prevent injury and pain. So yeah, we got to get to 25 reps, folks. So if you can only do 10, you're less than halfway there. But this is important to note. Anytime you find deficiencies in your body, if we try to correct those, there's a better chance that we're going to get rid of your foot pain for good. Once we've done these foot exercises, it's important to think about the top of the chain because we could be utilizing and overusing our feet and our lower leg because our hips and knees and our core is weak. So I've thrown in here some of my favorite exercises that are definitely manageable for a beginner and an intermediate. So here we have it. We'll start off with the glute bridge. This is something that most people can do. And what we're working here is the gluteus maximus, the butt muscle. What we're establishing is better hip extension, which is bringing the leg behind your body. Your glutes are very important for walking. When we walk, we want to be able to push off using your glutes, your quads in your thigh, as well as your calf, and then having that stability in your ankle and foot. Now, if the two-legged bridge is too easy, then we can do this progression here, which is a single leg bridge. Remember, guys, we want to make sure that we're doing enough repetitions to elicit a change in our strength. So we want to get to fatigue. Once again, if you notice that your pelvis is starting to wobble a little bit and you're losing the position in your lower back, that means we have a core strength problem. Now, I've also added an exercise that's a little more advanced. As you can see here, it's a single leg balance with a toe touch or a hip hinge. Some people call this a single leg RDL movement. It's basically a hip hinge where we have to keep our trunk, our pelvis, and everything stable as we tip ourselves over, only moving through the hip. And as we're doing this with bare feet, we are making sure that we create good stability and arch in the foot. You want to make sure that you can achieve this movement and do a few repetitions with good balance. Now, I've also added some core exercises. So we have the dead bug. And in this video, I'm doing it with a stability ball. It's actually pretty difficult to coordinate the movement without the ball. And it's kind of comical at times when I'm giving this exercise to my patients. We joke about it, but most people don't have that coordination. It's not something that you really practice. So with the ball, it's a bit easier. So we have your hands and knees holding a ball, and then you're just going to release the opposite arm and leg. So we're doing what we call a contralateral movement, and we're releasing the leg and the arm, and then we're bringing it back and then alternating. Now, the key for this one is controlling your spine and pelvis. What that means is you don't want to create a huge arch in your lower back. You almost want to slightly flatten your back a little bit, not exaggerated, but really do what we call a posterior pelvic tilt. So if you had something in your lower back, You're trying to squish that just a little bit and then maintain that position. This is a core exercise, so we're trying to create stability in our spine and pelvis. Lastly, I have added a hamstring exercise because the hamstring and the calf tie in really nicely. And if you have weak hamstrings, you can often overuse your calves. And there's a little muscle in the knee called your popliteus that when your hamstrings are weak, they can become inhibited, and then you overuse the popliteus, which then plays into the whole problem. Remember, guys, everything is connected, right? Just like that saying, the knee bone's connected to the ankle bone, whatever. So this hamstring exercise, using the stability ball in the same position as the bridge, but you just have your feet up on the ball, then you get into the bridge and you bend your knees. But the goal is to try to keep that top bridge position that will maintain the tension on the glutes as well as the hamstring, as the hamstring, the muscle at the back of the leg, pulls the lower leg bone towards the buttock. Same thing, we want to make sure that we do enough repetitions. Believe me, guys, this is a pretty difficult exercise. So if you can't do it, that's okay. But some of these exercises for the upper part of your lower body or your core can be done even if you're having pain in your foot. I understand if it's very inflamed and aggravated, some of these foot exercises can be challenging. Just remember that if you treat it properly and you try to actually recover it, in about 2 to 3 days, the inflammation can settle, and then you can start really working these foot exercises. But also remember that your foot can be very sensitive during this time, but it doesn't mean that you're harming it. So if you can tolerate a little pain, then it can be okay. You just want to make sure with your local rehab professional that your foot is safe to do these exercises. Okay? I hope this helps. And if anyone that you know is having this problem, please share this with them. Ask me some questions in the comments so I can clarify if you're having trouble understanding certain things. Once again, this is Adam Chang signing off. Take care, guys.
Keep it moving.